What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and of course, I have some more news concerning Barry Hearn. Now, this is Eddie's reaction because he spoke about the interview that didn't necessarily break the internet, but it did raise eyebrows about what the words that Barry used about old contracts back in the day and how they were unfair to the fighter versus the promoter, and the promoter used to get the bulk of the money and the promoter really dictated everything. And in that interview, Barry was explaining how that used to be in his day. Okay, he included himself because he was one of the promoters that had that type of position. Okay, him amongst others. I did a interview about it earlier, so I don't feel that I need to go back into that. But to really scratch the surface, Eddie told his father to fill in for him. He told him, hey, just talk about David Price, Dave Allen, of course, Oscar Rivas, dillian Whyte, tell him, just talk about him, And he said 15 minutes later, his dad was still talking. His dad's a talker. And honestly, I believe that, Barry missed doing that type of work because he started this thing with Matchroom. And, I can't say he got a little carried away. I think he started liking what he was doing because he hasn't done it in a long time. You know what I mean? And it's good to get back out there, and, he was showing his talents. Now, of course, he did tell his dad, hey, they can spin this or spin your words around. And, his dad was like, what words? Like I told you guys, Barry Hearn wasn't conscious of anything he said was wrong. He wasn't. He was brutally honest. He's properly old school, like Eddie Hearn says. He's, in those slave contracts. Now, mind you, slave contracts are a thing in boxing. For those who don't know, Floyd Mayweather informed us of HBO. They wanted him to sign a slave contract from HBO, and he said it was a bullshit contract. So those are the type of contracts that they had back then that didn't have anything to do with slavery. It didn't have anything to do with race. Okay. Now, the only problem was the choice of words. That was the only problem because, like Eddie said, you can spin this any way you want. And of course, if you're someone that is already sensitive to certain words trigger sensitive tendencies, or it's a delicate subject, or it could even be misconstrued in a way. You're going to find that, and a lot of people that are sensitive, they're going to look for it. Like certain people will do that anyway, but not to say those words weren't tactless or reckless. They were honest at the end of the day, and he didn't take it like that. But it's again, let's say this many, many times. If you work in so many different places, people can spin things on you. And Eddie was right. And then that's exactly what happened. When Eddie told him that, they're going to spin this around on you. And Barry was like, what the hell? And Barry's one of those guys that, hey, I'm too old to be a liar. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm too old to lie, and then he went on to say, hey, if you don't like pay-per-view, don't buy it. A lot of people would spin that around too, and, but it's true. If those are one of those things where, especially in the UK, it's different from over here in the States. The UK is $19.95. So if you can't spend $19.95 euros, $25 American, US dollar. If you can't spend that amount of money on a fight worth, a lot of potential great fights or opponents, don't buy it. And it makes a lot of sense, but it's coming again for someone that's properly old school. He doesn't have to sell something that sells itself, in other words. You know, so, no, I think he did a good job. You know, if it wasn't for that, because I even told people, I said, people are going to run with this shit. And I said that, you know, and it's not been like the best or most popular topic, you know, because it's not, you know, because really what he was saying was true, you know, control of promotional companies had control of the fighter. Now it's the other way around. He was just showing the difference of what he did back in the day versus what's going on now. Period. But, you know, Eddie wasn't too hard on his dad. I mean, because he just knew, like, hey, this is my dad. You know what I mean? This is like, this is who he was. This is what he was in the day, and he was only saying that. So, no harm, no foul. Now, he did mention Tyson Fury, and I think he offended Eddie because he was like, hey, you know, you don't talk to my family like that. You know, and then he was talking about, you know, the rankings with Barry, you know, criticized Tyson Fury for fighting Tom Schwartz versus Deontay Wilder, okay, which he was ordered by the WBC to do so, but he didn't. So that was the that was the comparison, okay, in parallel to who you were supposed to fight versus who you're fighting. You know what I mean? That is night and day. Regardless of what people think about Deontay Wilder, he was a way better opponent than Tom Schwartz. You know what I'm saying? The only other fighter that he could have fought was Anthony Joshua. That, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you went from either second or third best heavyweight to who the hell is Tom Schwartz? You know what I mean? That is a big difference. So, but Tyson Fury, he's always accused Barry Hearn of being a boozer. That's why he made the comments about the drinking and stuff like that, put him back in the cupboard. Honestly, it was funny, but to me, it wasn't funny to Eddie, you know, so Eddie, you know, did address that, and he was like, hey, you know, how can you be a role model? And, you know, you said you donated just your fight purse to charity, which you didn't do. You know what I mean? So, you know, and then you're saying negative comments like this, but you're supposed to be a role model. So, you know, that was Eddie's remarks towards Tyson Fury, you know, and then, you know, I think Eddie was upset because, you know, that is his family. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's me wrapping it up on that. You guys tell me what you think about Eddie's response towards his father, Barry, along with the Tyson Fury comments. Of course, please subscribe, guys. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.